And it's Dave here, the Swole Minister, and we're going to talk about carbs. Ooh.
So a while back I posted a video about a fruit protein smoothie that I have a recipe for, and it's a great video, and I thought it was a great recipe that I was sharing for it. So I shared it on Facebook, and one of the first comments I got back was, "Too many carbs. Ain't nobody got time for that." So I want to make a little video for you guys to tell you the truth about carbs. Carbs are not bad, contrary to popular belief, and Atkins and South Beach and all this other stuff, all these snack food companies coming out with low-carb snacks and things like that. I'm telling you, carbs are not bad. They're actually good.
Oh no, Dave. I know. Carbs are the enemy.
I think we need to redefine enemy.
So the first thing you need to do is understand the difference between carbs. Simple carbs like chips, pastries, white bread, they're easily digested and they make you feel hungry much faster, pretty much in no time. Complex carbs like fruits, vegetables, whole grain bread, those are much slower to digest and they keep you fuller a lot longer.
Now, although it is true that initially up front you will lose some weight when you go on a low-carb diet, the problem is that when you start eating carbs again, you're going to gain all that fat back, probably pretty quickly.
And here's another little fun fact. For every gram of carbohydrate in your body, it's going to be about 3 to 5 grams of water that accompany that carbohydrate. So when you go on a low-carb diet, most of the weight you're going to lose up front is going to be water weight.
Now, the proponents of Atkins diets and South Beach diets, they say that low-carb diets should be a way of eating or a way of life, and that's why you don't have to go back to carbs. Problem is, carbs are an essential part of human nutrition, and your body is going to eventually end up craving them so much so that when you do eat carbs, you're probably going to go overboard.
So in order to explain what I mean by all of this, let's take a look at how carbs actually work. That's not quite the carb I was thinking of. Alright, here we go. So, carbohydrates are foods that your body uses to make glucose. Now you have an enzyme in your body called amylase, which breaks down the carbohydrates you eat to produce glucose, which gives you energy. Now, since we know that the main source for energy is fuel, we can take a look in our cupboards and see which octane fuel sources we have available to us. So for the human body, our version of octane is called the glycemic index. This index rates carbohydrate foods on how quickly your blood sugar and glucose levels rise in the first few hours after eating them. When your blood sugar rises quickly, your pancreas triggers the production and release of insulin. Insulin causes the body's muscle and liver cells to attempt to store the excess glucose. Now imagine insulin as a shuttle, moving glucose from the digested foods into storage. If the digestive system is pumping glucose into the bloodstream quicker than insulin can move it into the muscles and liver, or glucose stays high for too long, the body will convert the excess glucose into fat. Perhaps the biggest problem with all of this is how it leads to the end result of gaining fat and weight. When your insulin levels are high, it means that there's lots of soldiers doing their job of clearing out the excess sugars from your bloodstream. At that moment, you have significantly less blood sugar, and as a result of the insulin doing its job, which triggers a feeling of needing more fuel, more energy, and more calories. And thus begins the sugar and carb craving cycle. So if we just use our intuition here, we can see that eating foods lower on the glycemic index, the good carbs, are going to result in slower blood sugar increases, lower insulin production, and less fat storage. Your body is also more likely to use these sources of carbohydrates more efficiently, which means you are less likely to crave carbs and sugars overall.
So guys, there you go. Don't be afraid of carbohydrates. Just make sure to make the right type of choices out there. Chips are okay in moderation. Everything's okay in moderation. When it comes down to it, try to get most of your carbohydrate sources during your daily diet from complex carbs, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and things like that. It will make the biggest difference when it comes down to it at the end of the day. So, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe, and I'll talk to you later.